I ranked every single Facebook ad strategy, technique, or tactic there is in the books for 2025 from best to worst. And I want to share those results with you today. Really quickly, if you don't yet know who I am and you're new to the channel, my name is Justin Lalonde, and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where we profitably spend over $15 million a year on paid ads for our clients, have worked with over 276 businesses, and have had over 4,700 students in our paid ad programs. And let's get straight into today's video. So, ranking every Facebook ad strategy with you live in today's video. Well, I have all of those today, okay? A bunch of different tactics, strategies, and whatnot. And I want to get through those with you right now. So I'll start from the bottom and go all the way up. 1-2 punch campaigns right here. What does that mean? A 1-2 punch campaign is done in one of two ways. It's either like a propaganda campaign. So you're either going to run ads on the top of funnel to have like engagement on specific pieces of content in order to warm up the audience. And then you're going to throw them into a separate campaign to kind of retarget them with additional pieces of content. So those additional pieces of content are usually more tailored towards conversion, whereas the former are converted or are targeted, I should say, towards engagement. That I don't use a lot because I like to do a lot more organic with our businesses that we have, and to do like ads and ads focused towards like direct response for the most part. So I'm probably going to give that I'd say a C, honestly. It's not bad by nature. You could do it. It's just that I'd rather build organic and own the brand for the long run. Like this, to me, short term, I'd probably put that as a B. Like long term, I'm going to put that as a C right here, just because you'd rather do organic and then just have your paid ads be like the actual campaigns that you have up and running right there. Geographically based copy variations. I'm not even going to talk about specific just ad copy. I'm also going to say like scripts for UGC videos and whatnot. I'm going to give that like a solid B, okay? For a lot of clients, we've actually found a lot of new like winning ads or winning markets just by taking our winners, say in the US, getting those translated into Spanish as an example, and running those on the Latin American market, or translating those into Dutch as an example and running that in Europe, and so on and so forth. So it's like you would want to just take whatever winners you have in English as an example, or in whatever language is your native language, and then just translate those into adjacent markets, which actually can help you find some new winners in this case. I'm going to give that a solid B. Invisible offer ads, okay, for like compliance heavy niches. What do I mean by that? This is as an example, when you run an ad to like a fake lender, or not a fake lender, but a landing page that would mask the actual true offer, say in the back end, which would be for like a CBD brand, or for even a sex brand, or for something like a health industry business. This is considered like grade a black hat. I try not to dive too much into that, just because like you rely so much on tactics at this point, because like if you ever get flagged, then it'll fuck up your page score, your account, and it's a bit of a, honestly, it's a bitch to run. So I'm probably going to give that a D right here, just because I don't like to run this one that much. 9x16, so mobile first formats in all campaigns. Honestly, I'm going to give that a solid A right here. Not that like, I'm not giving it an S, just because I can't say for a fact that doing 9x16 only gives us like crazy boost in performance. I've had campaigns performing amazingly well with just 1x1 or 4x5 assets. But truth is, if you have a 9x16 asset with all of your important information just cropped in the middle, so that like if the cropping happens on feed placement as an example, the ad still looks good. So in other words, your ad is built to fit all formats. It usually performs well, and of course looks good, looks on brand across all placements. But does that necessarily boost performance like crazy? Not really. Hence why like I'm not putting it an S, I'm giving it an A right there. Now, scaling via post ID consolidation, which means you have like a scaling ad set, or you have like a testing ad set or testing campaigns, and then you have a scaling ad set or a scaling campaign. And all you do is like you take winning post IDs from the testing campaigns and you put that into like a scaling campaign. So for me, I do both testing and scaling within the same campaign nowadays. So I don't really use that anymore. I will still probably give that a C, not worse than that, for the simple reason that, I mean, look, if you're going to be doing a testing and a scaling campaign, still use the post IDs, because you're not going to lose the social proof at the very least. So look, this is like better than nothing. So I'm going to give that a C, just to be fair here. Manual bid strategies, cost gap or minimum ROAS. I'm going to put that honestly all the way at the bottom. I don't use those at all whatsoever. And the reason is the following. Naturally speaking, when you do use cost gaps or minimum ROAS, who do you think Meta, Google, or TikTok is going to go after? Usually, they're going to go after low-hanging fruits, which are product or most aware customers. this is the smallest size of your total addressable market. So if I scroll out right here and I go there, this was the graphic I had for another video. By default, if you use a cost cap or target ROAS, you'll usually end up advertising here. Very easy to target these people and to get them to convert, but very small market. You're missing out on the biggest portion of your total addressable market, because of course these guys won't convert as easily as these one. Of course you'll get a higher ROAS on these than you will on those. And so therefore, if you have an unrealistically high, which most people using a cost cap or a target ROAS usually will put it higher than it should be, they'll get mostly these guys. And they'll end up in a situation where the campaign is not spending, or it's spending unpredictably. And I don't like that. I don't like to have my ad spend fluctuate day in, day out, and create an uncertainty in my account. Like I could spend $1,000 today and I could only spend $200 tomorrow. So I don't use those at all on my campaigns right here. ABO. So using an ad set budget optimization instead of a CBO. I'm more of a CBO guy. Okay. So we're going to be doing those two at the same time. I'm going to say CBO. I'm probably going to put that as an A, and I'll put like an ABO as a B. Okay. I'm not as strict on those as with audiences and demographics. I'm really focused on broad targeting nowadays. Like this is where I'm not bending at all in my ways and saying, I really think that app platforms are not only forcing us, but with AI, pushing us to go towards broad targeting and to have creative beta targeting. I like to have my budget indicate to me whether or not an ad is going to succeed. And I've always, like, I've done this test many times. If I put an ad in a CBO and it doesn't get spent, and I put this ad in an ABO, usually like it doesn't scale a lot. Like I'll be able to get some spend, maybe even some decent results in the same ad in the ABO, but past a certain point, it just doesn't scale. So if an ad is not getting spent in a CBO, usually means it's unscalable. So therefore, like I like that, but at the same time, I also understand where some people might want to have more granular budget control if you want. And so therefore, that's why I'm going to put this as a B and this as an A. Like I'm not too against ABO, but I much prefer CBO for the reason mentioned. Now, retargeting campaigns, honestly, I'm going to put that as a D. So the only time I probably would do a retargeting campaign is in some cases for online service-based businesses like info coaching and agencies. But that's about it. Some very specific cases for these guys. Like Jeremy Haynes, as an example on YouTube, has a strategy called Hammer Them right here, which is basically just if you get a bunch of leads and they don't book calls, or if you get a lot of calls but they don't show up, you can like use ads to just hammer these people with a bunch of contents to get them warmed up and excited for your call. That's probably where I'd say retargeting makes sense. But 99% of the time for like e-commerce businesses, local businesses and whatnot, I would just target through creatives. I actually have a specific video that either is coming up or has already been released on YouTube about that, which is, do you really need to do Facebook retargeting? And if not, well, how do you still do your targeting? And so I definitely recommend you check this one out. Lookalike audiences and interest tagging, I'm going to pick those two at the same time and say with these two, this is an absolute F for me. I don't use those at all anymore right here. Not at all. Like in no case do we use those whatsoever. Broad usually always outperforms those two. So we don't use those at all. Very limited in terms of targeting. Meta doesn't like that anyways. Also, they're pushing you to Advantage Plus audiences. So those are more suggestions as they are like an actual set parameter nowadays. So I just don't use those nowadays. So here, this is a pretty interesting tactic. Engagement traffic and purchase campaigns, or engagement traffic and conversion campaign, I could have said also right here. What do I mean is you take the same ad, you take the same post ID, and you have 3 campaigns running ads to the same exact ad. So those 3 campaigns are an engagement campaign, traffic, and purchase or conversion campaign. I've actually had a client get very solid results with this strategy as of lately. So like in 2025. So I know it works, but it also over complexifies your account. So I usually have only like conversion campaigns, and I have 1 per market. So say 1 in France, 1 in Canada, 1 in US, so on and so forth, or 1 per product line. But if you start having 3 campaigns for the same exact post IDs, then usually you're going to have like, 3 campaigns per market or 3 campaigns per product. And so you now start to have a bunch of campaigns on the account. So because of that, I'm not a huge fan, but I know it works. So I'm not going to put that all the way to the end of the list. Like I'm probably going to put that as a C right here, as it does work. I just don't particularly like to use it. Okay. Now, third-party ads. So branded blog or native like fronts. Honestly, I'm going to put that as an A right here. So what do I mean by that? A third-party ad is, as an example, say so like my business, right? My business is paidadvertising.com. I could decide to create tomorrow a blog and a whole different entity that is something like cold traffic advertising or cold response marketing or whatever. And I could create like a blog or a newsletter that has a Facebook page and an Instagram account with a bunch of posts that are not about my agency at all. They're more about like the industry as a whole, and run ads from that, like almost create a media company, right? Examples of that I could even say is something like, so these guys, let me just find them right here. So you might have heard about these guys. They're actually from a pretty big creator out there, which is Brett, which has had a lot of good content in the space. They got an agency in the back end, but if you go on Instagram specifically and you look into their account right there, so their account, is all about like engagement, about the online space and whatnot. So it's less like selling what they have to offer, and it's more so like an engagement based, almost like a theme page if you would want to. Okay. So I'm talking about that. And I'm also talking about people in the e-com space who will literally create like blogs. So say you're selling strollers or products for new moms, then you could create something like Mom's Daily Life or something like that, which you create a lot of content about, moms, a lot of like feel good kind of theme related content. So again, very similar to a theme page. And then you run ads from this to your product instead of from the actual company's page. Those actually tend to perform really well from what we've seen in our experience. So I'd say this might be a surprise in this video, but definitely performs pretty well. Now, UGC Spark Ads and Creator Whitelisting, I will probably also put that as an A, is what I would say right here. Maybe a B actually is what I would put. Like these two, I might interchange those, not gonna lie, right here. You know what? I think I will. I'll put this one here and I'll put this one there for the simple reason as this is like the same exact principle, but you're running it from someone's actual page. So instead of running ads, say under paidadvertising.com, I run those under Justin Lalonde, or I run those again under a personal name. But same thing for an e-commerce brand. Instead of running those under, say, Cuts Clothing, then it's like Justin Lalonde running an ad on his profile to Cuts Clothing about, wearing Cuts Clothing as an example, okay? So all of that to say, those usually work amazing. Like I have a much higher conversion rate on those than on these ones. So hence why I just swapped those now that I've seen it. But these still work pretty well, not to be underestimated. But yeah, UGC Spark Ads or Creator Whitelisting are up there. I have to put them at the top of the list. Mini VSL ads. So in this case, this would be either like a landscape ad or something that's more like longer. So like a talking head video. These usually work well for someone who's less aware. So like unaware, problem aware for the most part, which need a little bit more time on the ad before we can then send them to a landing page. We might even need to send them like a lander like this here, like an advertorial listicle or whatnot. But mini VSL ads, I only honestly use for like info and coaching businesses in a very specific case. So they perform well, but I don't use them often is what I would say. So just by trying to be as equal as possible between every tier, which I'm not, because like E has nothing and S also has nothing yet. I'm still going to put those here, but they work. Okay. So like I'm not putting those here because I hate it, just because I use it a little less is what I would say. Now ads to lender. Okay. That I'm going to put here as a solid B. This is great for like, if the less aware someone is, the more convincing they need before buying. So if you send someone straight from an unaware ad to a product page, chances are they're not going to buy because they're not yet there. But if you send them from an unaware ad to like a problem aware advertorial, and then the advertorial like nurtures them and like teaches them about something and just gets them to then pay attention, become emotionally invested, and by the end of the landing page, then to get them on the product page, that makes a lot more sense. So they're a good bridge between like the ad and the product. So they're like a third step I would add. So usually people see like ad and then product, right? But the landing page here that is not a product page can be a bridge between those two. So I'm going to put that right there. Dynamic creative testing with single creative variable, S tier. So usually now it's like whenever we run ads, we're going to use either dynamic creative testing when we can. Flexible ads, I don't use as much. You can though in itself, since they're similar to what dynamic creative testing is. But long story short, you have like one concept. So like same fundamentals behind the ad. In fact, the same exact creative, say same exact video, but 3 different hooks. So using the fact that like you can have Facebook take the same ad, give it micro variation of a same ad, and have Facebook like find which one works better is great. So it's like you can make, it's almost like iterating on the same concept from the start, so that Meta already has like a few iterations of the same exact ad to go after. So I love to do this. It usually gets us, pretty good results and helps us find winners a little faster. Creative is targeting. Of course, I also have to put that as S tier. I've mentioned that so many times on the channel right here, which is essentially you don't do retargeting that is forced. You don't do interest or lookalike audiences. Hence why I kind of put those all the way at the end right here. But you let your creative through the messaging specifically find you the right persona, find you the right audience, the right awareness level. And last but not least, I've pretty much kept all my S tiers at the end. Of course, like AI ads, I think we're moving towards this anyways. Meta, I posted a whole video on our channel not too long ago at the time of recording this video today, but Meta has specifically posted an interview with the Wall Street Journal that says that as of late 2026, their goal is that the entire advertising system, from targeting to upload to optimization to anything, is going to be automated with AI. And so since we're moving in that direction, I'm pretty bullish on AI-powered ads. They save you time, they save you on costs also, and especially like static ads, they look just as real and just as good, if not even better, than if you hired a graphic designer. AI UGC, you need a solid editor to help you like chop it up in order to make this like look real, because it needs to have a lot of B-roll and not have too long someone on the screen, or else people start to like realize this is AI. But if you can chop up clips of like 1 to 2 seconds of a talking head with some B-roll, it'll pass as a real piece of content. So I'm definitely super bullish here, and seeing how fast these tools have been coming out and how good the quality already is just months into having this as an option, super bullish right here. And so if I zoom out, it's just the E tier I pretty much didn't use in today's video, but this is every single tactic or strategy that I would have ranked for Facebook ads in 2025. So definitely advise that you check out this latest video about Facebook's new AI ad system, just so that you're aware of what's coming up in this space and that you can implement some of the stuff mentioned in today's video. And if you want to implement my paid advertising system to help you predictably scale your business through AI this year, check out the first link in the description below to join our Ad Engine 101 Inner Circle today and have me review your paid ads, offers, landing pages, and help you once again implement this AI-powered ad engine. And if you want us to do all of this done for you and become your Meta, Google, or TikTok ad partners, then also check out the description below and book in a call with our team at paidadvertising.com today. So I wish you an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.